everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Those of you that are new, this is Motorsports. Today we are going to be getting back on our Ranger build. The last video I should have explained that the steering is incorrect. What we did was we went ahead and we copied the factory geometry. We just extended it. I saw a couple kits online doing this where they keep the joint in the middle. And everything is basically factory. It's just all Heims and upgraded tubing and all that. It does have a lift drop pinion, so it's not quite the drop that we need, but I do also have it drooped out right now. But you see if I can, yeah, I can do this. So I don't know if you see here, when I pull and push this tire, everything rotates. So it's basically getting some gnarly death wobble. It's just kind of wanting to walk all over the road. Like this tire wants to go like this, while the other one, since that one's attached to the gearbox, the pinion, it's staying straight. Or not pinion, pitman arm, sorry. Yeah, it's a drop pitman arm. So yeah, pinions in the rear end. So that's my apologies. But yeah, this tire just wanting to walk all over. That tire's staying straight, so it's wanting to walk and do something really weird with the truck. So what we did is, let me go ahead and get them out. They're sitting over here on the shelf. Boom. So what I did was I built a set of swingers to do some swing set steering. Right now the center of the I-beams are on 6-inch drop brackets that I custom made. Should be in one of the videos. So now we are going to basically do the same thing. This is going to go off the side of the frame. According to all the pictures I'm seeing online, it should be pretty much dead center from top to bottom. And this point right here, where it kind of kicks out, should hug the frame, allowing it to swing in and out or whatever. So I've been doing a lot of research online. I kind of figured out the exact placement. I can see exactly where people are welding these tabs. Unfortunately for us, we weren't gonna do swing set steering at first. So when we did the engine cage, we kind of just did the engine cage. But now that we are going to change it, the swinger needs to go literally right here, right where our engine cage is. So I'm gonna have to cut our little peg off, and I'm gonna have to move it up, which it is like extremely gusseted, so that kind of sucks. But I'm gonna have to cut that out and just kind of move it up. So I'm gonna cut it and probably just cut a nice little square out. Maybe I can sneak it in, weld it all back together, and leave the gusset in there, the top half. So that's what I'm gonna work on now. I do have it up on my pipe stands. I have it, I don't know, probably 3/4 of the way or so drooped out, just to get the kind of weight off the engine cage. If I cut that, it ends up trying to spring up. All I gotta do is jack the vehicle back up. I'm gonna take some measurements. I'm gonna draw some lines so I know if the engine cage happens to push or pull at all. But I'm gonna take the proper measurements to make sure that stays. But like I said, I'm gonna try to leave the top half of the gusset so it shouldn't be able to walk at all. So I'm gonna try to do this cleanly so I don't have to create extra work for myself. And then that hanger is supposed to go right there, literally almost exactly where that pipe is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to cutting, and then I'm probably just gonna unbolt the steering first. We are gonna reuse these Heims and misalignments and all the bolts and hardware. It's all brand new. The bungs that are welded into the tubing, I'm not gonna use. I did order a replacement, so I have brand new bungs to weld into our new swing set steering. And then yeah, so that's gonna be it. So I'm gonna get to unbolting the steering, and I'm gonna start cutting this part and getting that redone. Alright, so I went ahead and I cut the bottom tube off, and I was able to leave just part of it. I got this all cleaned up, got it completely cut off. So that, I notched it a little bit, And so I'm gonna go ahead and be able to weld that right back in. The notch is not perfect, then again, I did leave it on there and kind of just notched a little bit, but I'll be able to weld that in just fine. But all it's gonna do is move that up, and I should be able to put the swinger right underneath it, and it's already gonna be gusseted on top still, so it'll be good to go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back on the Ranger build. We are in the process of starting to do the swing set steering to correct the incorrect geometry of the steering. We do have the I-beam drop brackets in place, and I did tack in the swing sets. I have all the heims in place. I'm about to start the tubing. You can see over here on the table the other steering that I built that was completely incorrect. It was basically an extended copy of the OEM steering, but the heims allowed it to pivot and do a bunch of weird, wobbly, just inappropriate stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start cutting some tubes, getting them tacked in place, test all the steering, make sure everything's clearanced properly, and get that going. All right, so quick little tip. While you're measuring from heim to heim, you wanna measure from this little point right here, inside that bevel, that bottom little point, you wanna leave that gap open. So you're gonna measure from point to point, and then when you go over on your tubing, you need to bevel it, which means you need to lay it back. So that way when you weld, you fill the cavity, and it starts from that inside point at its lowest, and it'll bleed in from the very bottom, and it'll bleed out. It'll fan out on both sides, and it'll put a nice solid weld all the way around your bevel. So this one is measured at 31 1/4, and that's gonna be the one that links swing set to swing set. Alright, so I do have all the bars cut, beveled, prepped, ready to go, almost ready to go. I have the passenger side ended up being able to be straight. I might put a little kink in it here just to drop it down a little bit. At full bump, it gets pretty close to the pinion bolt. It is right under it. So I might put a little bend just to clearance it just a little bit. It doesn't need much. We might pull the springs and test it, or I might just try to kind of flex it out, jack this corner up. But what I'm doing right now, I have one bar over there. I'm pulling them all out. The only thing I haven't prepped is all the rosette welds, which are going to be 1/2 inch from the outside edge, because the inside of the weldable bung for the heim goes in 1 inch. So right in the middle, 1/2 inch, I'm gonna drill a hole on each side so you can burn a little rosette weld in there. So I'm gonna show you on the driver's side bar, which I had to put a couple kinks in it to allow for clearance. But you can see right there, my little dot, it's at 1/2 inch. I have this other side already drilled, both sides here, and the bottom side of this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drill this through. So there you go, I'm drilled through. Again, this is 250 wall tubing. You can see just how thick of a wall it is. So you can see even down in the hole just how thick that actually is. But this old mill here basically drills right through it. Takes a second. That probably was 25-30 seconds in total. But for how thick that is, that's not bad. So one bar down, I got 3 to go. So that's a total of 12 more holes. So in the next, I don't know, 10 or so minutes, I'm sure I'll have this done. I gotta pull them on and off the car. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start doing a couple tacks to hold all the heims everything in place, and I'm gonna pull them all off of the truck, and I'm gonna bench weld everything over here on the table. Alright, so I got all the rosette welds drilled. As you can see here, everything has 4 holes in it, 2 on each side, each pipe. So those are all done. I'm gonna go ahead and put them all back on the truck, and I'm gonna start doing 4 tack welds on each side, 2 on each heim. So 1 on each side, 1 on each side. Then I'll be able to fully unbolt the heim, bring it over here to the bench, unscrew the heim out of it, and then I'll be able to fully weld everything around, as well as all 4 rosette welds per bar. And the rosette weld, basically, instead of relying on one solid bead all the way around, it puts a little bit of leverage up the pipe, just a little bit. You get to basically do a little, it's called a rosette weld, but basically you just do a little circle in there and you build it up. You fill the tube, basically binding it down on the inside of the bung a little bit. So it's welded 360 degrees, and it has a solid tack there and there on the inside, which it's a lot more than a tack, but that's basically the idea. You basically just run a solid little weld in there, fill the hole, and that's it. It just allows a lot more bite. Instead of being on one section, if that decides to crack or anything happens, this just kind of locks it in place more. Instead of all that pressure being on just those welds, it puts a little bit deeper of bite on there. Alright everybody, so check it out. I got everything tacked in place. This is the first time you guys are going to see everything all together. So this front bar, it starts in the front, it comes around. I have a bend there and a bend there, both kind of giving it a U shape to kind of go with the beam. But for one, it gives it clearance before it hits the other swinger, as well as it has a 15 degree yeah, it was 15 degree kick forward, so it goes forward and then it bends up and then it bends up again, so that allows it to have clearance from this swinger at full droop. From this bar to there, I have about 8 inches of clearance. From the bump stop to the radius arm, I have about 5.5. So everything should clear with extra space. In between bar to bar, we got a decent 3.5 to 4 inches or so, but everything is tacked on both sides. So now I can go ahead and just literally unbolt everything. I'm going to fully weld these bushing tabs on. I'm going to weld the swingers off the truck. I'm going to fully paint, or not weld, I'm going to paint the swingers off the truck, fully retouch up the frame, and paint all these steering arms off the truck, let them dry overnight, and then I will fully assemble the entire front end of this truck again tomorrow. But there it is. That is the swing set steering. Everything clears nicely. You can see this one, I was able to go completely straight because it's got more than enough clearance. This is as far as it's going to go out. The only spot it gets close is the coilover, but that is below the cone a little bit. I am, before I fully paint everything, I am going to cycle the steering and just make sure. I may or may not, while I have this off, to weld it. I might add a little kink in the middle just to kind of droop it down a little bit like the other one. But right now it's straight. You can twist it, adjust your alignment. The straighter the better when it comes to strength. This is 250 wall tubing, 1.5 inch 250 wall tubing. So strength should not be a problem. The only one that, I mean, the weakest link here honestly is going to be this one because of all the bends. But I had to do that because of the clearance. These beams aren't as far forward as a nice aftermarket set of beams. You would be able to pull the wheelbase forward, but these are extended factory beams. So everything was kind of locked in this position. They are moved forward a little bit because I did move it forward when we did the radius arm mounts, but not much because everything had to cycle within the factory locations. We did do drop brackets, but all that did was drop it and just relocated it lower so that the camber and the tire, everything sat proper. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all back apart one more time, and I'm gonna get it all fully welded up.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. You cashed in on my promises, you know I'm too generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger now. Generous. Now I've learned to never help you out, 'cause I'm done cleaning up your mess. Found myself in my regrets. I've become a little stronger now, a little stronger.
All right, so I got the swingers off. I got everything as far as these 4 tabs, 2 on each side. These are all fully welded up. So this entire frame section, moving up the cage bung there, doing the swing set tabs, everything is fully welded per side. So those are all welded. So I'm going to cover up the coilover and I'm going to hit all that with some black paint. Then Over here, I got everything tore apart. I got everything here fully welded. So all the rosette welds, all the bungs, everything is fully welded. So basically I'm gonna pull the bushings out of here. I'm going to hang all these up in the morning. I'm going to cover the shocks and the bump stops, and I'm gonna spray both sides. I'll hit that little piece in the front, just spray it black, just clean it up a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and just spray everything in the morning, let it dry for a couple hours, and then I will screw all the heims back in. I have everything laid out. The closest one goes there, second one there, so on and so forth. Everything is in order, so I can put it back because I had the alignment pretty close. So I'll be able to put it back, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tow it in and have it aligned, because these are brand new tires, and that way it is his daily driver. Not at the moment, but when he gets it back, it was his daily. So I want to make sure the alignment's good. I don't want him wearing out the inside or the outside of his tires. So I want it to drive good. I want it to drive straight. I did set everything with the steering wheel straight. I don't know if you can see it, but I did think about all that. I did cut everything to length with the steering wheel dead straight, and the steering wheel is locked. So as I was yanking and pulling, the gearbox was locked in place. So the alignment should be close, the steering wheel should be straight. All they got to do is adjust the last final couple degrees, and it's going to be good. All right, everybody, so here it is next following morning. I got all the pieces cleaned up. I got one heim in each one. I got tape around it, just as a little barrier. But I scotch brighted the entire thing all the way around. Got all the welds, everything, and then I hung them up, and then I sprayed them down with brake cleaner just to get all the dust, everything off. So I'm letting them just kind of air dry just for a couple minutes, just to make sure everything is good. All right, so I got everything hung up here. I got probably 5-ish coats on, give or take each part. I've been kind of just hitting it. I probably have more than that, honestly. It does say paint and primer in one. This is Rust-Oleum metallic aluminum is the color, metallic aluminum. The paint, it like the black, when you use this paint, the paint and primer, the black, the white, all the normal base colors, they go on pretty thick, and you can tell it's thick. This stuff, it just, personally, it looks a lot thinner. I know it says paint and primer, but it looks like it's going on thinner to me personally. It's got some, I don't know if it'll show on camera, but it's got some of the little bit of the scratches from the grinder. It's not filling that stuff like the black normally will. You can kind of see it on reflection. I don't know if you'll even see that on camera, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just trying to get it thick, try to make sure it doesn't just chip right away. I know powder coating is the best way to go. Maybe down the road we'll take all this apart, we'll powder coat it. For now, we want to get the truck done, get it driving. He's gonna save up, he's gonna bring it back for a cage. So maybe when it's parked, if all this stuff is like chipped up pretty bad, maybe then we'll pull it apart and we'll powder coat it. But for now, just get it done, get it on the road, knock it out with some paint. I'm gonna go ahead and give it probably just a couple more quick coats, just to make sure it's thick and as rock resistant as possible. All right, so I got everything back together. I got all the masking tape off. I got all the heims back in. All of the steering linkages are done. The swing set hangers are done. I do have the bushings back in. The frame over here on both sides is all touched up, all painted black. I did paint that front cross member, so that's cleaner. And this side is all painted black. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna throw time lapse, and I'm just gonna start throwing this whole front end back together. Alright guys, so I got everything bolted up. Everything's looking real good. Check it out. So the silver personally I think is a good choice. I love the way it pops. It's super bright. Looks good with the blue and the black and the red. It's just a real good looking combo. It's the same exact color that I have on all of my truck. It's just bright and it looks clean, and I personally really enjoy the raw metal look. So the silver it's close right there. Vader, come on, get out of the way. Come here. Or not. But yeah, she looks good. I think I got the alignment pretty close. Like I said, it is gonna go in for alignment. I'm gonna have to finish the last, I gotta do a ground cable on that second battery. That's the only reason the second battery's not in yet. So I'm gonna make another ground cable. I'm gonna run it, I'm gonna put the second battery in there. And I'm gonna go test drive this thing around the block a couple times. So, let me know in the comments what you guys think. If I made any mistakes or if you know anything that I don't, please feel free to point it out. I'll be more than happy to address it, but it seems to work. Everything seems to cycle cleanly and good. I'm gonna find out on the test drive how it drives, but I think we're good. This is definitely a lot better than the other steering we had on there. Alright, so we are doing all the final little details to this build here. I just did a quick touch up. I just put all the pressure and the coilovers, bump stops. I just put in the second battery, just did the second ground cable, which basically goes from this one across and attaches at that ground cable, and it goes down and it's welded to a bolt that I welded to the side of the frame, and then it has a nut on there. So now both batteries are in. These are our battery boxes. See there? So that's a quick little peek there. But with all that being said, we are basically wrapping up this build. I am gonna run through, do one more bolt check first thing in the morning. I'm gonna check all the fluids. I know the radiator leaks. I know the power steering leaks. I'm gonna do a couple little, just a bunch of little top everything off. Burp the radiator, this and that, get it ready for him to drive home. And then we're gonna do a quick little test drive, and that's gonna be it. And I'm gonna do another video. I'm gonna do a full walkthrough. I'm gonna give this thing a quick little bath so it looks a little more presentable for you guys. But that's basically it. That's gonna be a wrap for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you got any questions, any comments, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out our merch. We have everything on Etsy, everything on eBay, and as well as if you go to our website, there's a link for Etsy under our clothing. So real easy, everything auto prints and ships right to you. So check it out. I've been putting out some new shirts on there, shower curtain, just a couple random things, which are pretty cool. So go ahead and check it out, and I'll give you a full breakdown on the next video. Peace out, guys. We'll see you next time.